Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's the old guy Jack here. You've been watching my, I don't know what you'd call it, I guess trying to fix that DT400C so that it would start. And I got to the point, I got so many things fixed on it, but I still couldn't get it to start easily. And so I did a compression check. Well, it's got a decompression thing on the front of the engine, and with that I was getting about 80 psi compression, but it was just extremely hard to kick. So there's something else, I think, holding that piston up on whatever it is. Anyway, so I disabled the decompression circuit on that thing, and I ran another compression check with my Harbor Freight compression tester. And I came up with about 80 still. No change from when I had the decompression system in there. So I said, well, maybe it's my compression tester. It's a cheapie, $19 or something similar to that. So I went out and searched the internet, and I found that a system made by Mightyvac, or I don't know if it's made by Mightyvac, it's probably made by some Chinese guy over in China there. But they sell one that gets very high ratings on customer reviews. So I ordered one of those up. I forget what it was. Was it $59, $69, or $79, one of them? And so we've got that installed on this bike now, but I installed it on that DT400. And I got the same reading as I did with the one from Harbor Freight that cost $19. So, lack of compression, I mean 80, 90 pounds of compression. It will probably run if you can get the engine going fast enough to get it started. I couldn't do that, not with my old legs. So I told Byron he could come and get it and pay whatever he thought it was worth. That's one of the reasons I don't like working on other people's bikes. I'm no expert. I say that in my disclaimer. So, and I told him up front that I was no expert and that it would take me a long time to get it done because I can only work 2-3 hours a day and I got to go rest. But I'm on my own bikes now. The 400 sitting over there, Byron's going to come pick it up. But this little CT2, I had this thing running just perfect. At least I thought it was perfect. And I took it out for a run, and after, I don't know, 15 minutes or so of riding it, it refused to go back to idle. It would, if you come to a stop and let off the throttle, it would go to maybe down to 3,000 RPM, but probably more likely in 35 to 4,000 range. Then it might slowly come back down. Well, that's a indication of a leak somewhere in the intake of this. It's getting too much oxygen, it's running lean. So I went ahead and I think I did anyway. installed new crank seals, because that could be one of the places where you get the leak of extra air into the crankcase, where the gas mixes and goes up to the combustion chamber. So we're going to start over on it. I got the compression gauge hooked up. This is the new $79 one, or whatever it is. I forget. And we're going to take a look at that and see what we got. I think I was reading about 110 on this before, and I thought that's not great, but it should be okay for a little CT2, 175cc. All right, that pretty much stopped right about 130. So I think that's plenty. Another guy I watched called Two Vintage, he'd keep going for a while, but my old legs, once I get to 130, I figure that's enough. So compression's not a problem with this thing. And we're going to put the spark plug back on there. And take a look and see if we've got a decent spark. I do not like the way this new Mighty Vec is set up, this compression tester with all these different cables. You got 14 and 18, is it? I'm not sure. I think 14 is what I use mostly. 14 millimeter connectors. You got adapters for little tiny ones. And the good thing is that these, if I can get one out to show you, they have the Schrader valve right down at the bottom. So instead of the compression going up and expanding the rubber hose and then coming back out, it's locked in there. So you get a truer reading this. And I just found that out by watching a fellow named James Condon. He was having the same problem with that, with a small engine, a weed whacker. So anyway, we've got for sure we've got decent compression. And next, we're going to see if we have spark. Let's see if we can get this all zoomed in here. Get a spark plug on it. Get it grounded out somewhere, and then see if we can get a picture of that. I'm not sure if it will show or not. I hope so. Hopefully we get some sparks out of that. I couldn't see them from where I was. All right, then the next thing we're going to do is I could jump this up in the air, but it's hard to kick it once I get it up there. We're going to squirt some gas down the cylinder, put the spark plug back in, I don't think there's much gas left in the tank, but we're going to turn it to reserve. We'll give it a little bit of choke. It's already choked, huh? Shouldn't need to choke with gas in there, but we'll run it with it anyway. We'll turn the key on. We'll get up here. Well, she wanted to fire. She fired. Didn't keep running. All right, maybe we're flooding it now. You know, I think what I need to do is pull that carburetor. It's been sitting for a while. I don't know if there's any gas in the tank, but we know it'll run. There's some in there, but not very much. So I think we're going to pull that carb and put it up on the bench and check out the everything's in it. All right. Here we have the carburetor. Most of the gas is drained out, but obviously not all of it. All right. Well, the first thing I noticed was when I took the main jet holder out, this was a gasket for it, and that's not a proper gasket for that. So I need to see if I can find a proper gasket for that. But first, let's see what else we might find. That's on me, by the way, because I'm the last one that had this carburetor apart. So I probably don't have that gasket, or I would have put it in then. But we're going to make sure we got the right one before we put it back together again. Okay. Take that apart, take that rubber hose out of there. Well, this thing is It's been in pretty bad shape, actually. I don't know if you can see down in there, but it's had some corrosion. That has eaten it up a bit. Now, I'm trying to see down in here because this goes down into that hole and there's a little rubber O-ring on here that seals against the walls of this chamber right here. And I'm trying to see if they're corroded as well, and they really don't look it. They appear to be okay. So I think this thing should work as long as we have a connection between here and here. So we're going to need to check that out. And we will. Okay. If you look at the, whoa. Actually, that is set wrong. Let me check both sides. Yeah, I need to get the measurement to set that. Make sure that both floats are the same. But that's set to run, to shut off too early. So we're going to have to fix that. Again, that's on me. I did this last. Needle looks almost new. I don't know if I'll be able to get that out or not. Yep, I think I will. Let me see. Oh yeah. No problem. Usually I have to go get a little 10mm socket to get that out. But we can do that this time. That looks perfectly fine. I don't see anything inside it. Gasket looks good. All right, let's see if we can get this needle jet out. I'm not sure if the needle jet has a, emulsion tube comes out with it. It's all one. Looks pretty decent. That's clean. That's clean. And down there is clean. I don't know if this screwdriver will work here or not. Nope. So let's see if we can get that pilot jet out. First, let's find out what this is set at. Your air screw, 1/2, 1, 1.5, perfect. That's what I always set them for, and that's usually what the book recommends. So there's that. All right. Pilot jet. Will that work? Nope. Will that work? Yep. Oh, it comes right out. There we go. So there's the pilot. And the main jet is here. So let me take a look through there. Well, I think that main jet is at least partially clogged. No, maybe not, but yeah, it's not real good. Let me see if I can. Looks like it could be. $200. All right, so what we got is the float height should be 21, I think. 21 plus or minus 2.5 millimeters. The pilot jet should be a 25. The main jet should be a 230. And the needle jet should be a 06, which it is. Verified that one anyway. And the needle should be a 4J1 in either 2 or 3 position. So, let's see if we can identify this pilot jet. I just can't see. The main jet, could it be a 230? No, it's a 200. So I think both of my jets are wrong. I need a 230 and a 25. All right, this is the needle jet, and it's okay. The float height was wrong, and the initial setting for the air screw was wrong. Is there a spring in there? And there's no spring in it. Damn, old man. You actually worked on this thing last. All right, well, I'm going to have to go and get my carburetor box with carburetor parts and see if I can find the proper jets for this thing. A 230 and a 25. And then we got to set the float level. I'll be back. All right, folks. So I finally found the markings on the pilot jet, and it is correct at 25, but it's plugged. On the main jet, it's incorrect at 200, and it should be a 230, and I don't have a 230. So I did find that I had the gasket for out here, but I also found another bowl that was in much better condition than the one I had. So I swapped the other one into parts, and I'm going to keep this one and use it. I got to make sure the passages are all clean. And I've got a brand new gasket for it, which goes on here. And this is fine. So I'll see you when the parts come back in. There are a couple other things I can do in the interim while we're waiting for parts, one of which is to get these float levels set right. So that's in there. Let me get my... Now, what we want to do here, when you're going to set these the proper way, I usually just look at them and see if the supporting arm looks level or parallel to the plane of the gasket area. And when I looked at these, they're not. So we're going to have to do a little bending on that tab on there. But let me get my gauge. We'll set that up. All right, we want to measure to the gasket surface. And you can see that we're considerably higher than that, and that means that the bowl won't be filled properly. So we need to adjust this little tab up. Now let's see if I can eyeball it and get close. That's still not enough. How's that? Well, that's close. I think that may still be just a hair. Nope, that's right on the money. Let's check this side. Well, they're a little different. This one's a little higher, but this has got that thing out of it. And that's looking good. It's within 2.5. It's within tolerances. So, we got that set. We got the we've got the main jet on order. We've got the new gasket for the main jet holder. So we're in pretty good shape here, I think. For what, Saturday, hopefully, if they ship them quick. All right, let's see. We got this little tool here. It's got a bunch of different size wires with it. Let's see if we can just take the smallest wire we got and poke it through this number 25. Yeah, went right through. Let's see if I can see something through it now. Oh, and it's got a little rough spot on the wire. So we did that. Yeah, we can see through it now. So this guy's ready to go. We just need the 230 main jet. And we will be shitting in tall cotton, as one of the Southerners used to say that I worked with in the Navy. Pardon my horrible language. I just couldn't resist. And we'll see you in a few when the parts come in.